I still have to say, at least for this game alone, it's still got some like fantastic production values and graphics. Back in 2015, yeah, this game came back out in 2015. Listen today would still be good looking. However, the problem with the older 1886 has always been this: good technology, graphics, production design mean nothing if your story is not great and how involvement the player is in. Heck, I think a good percentage of this game is you just watching a movie with you very playing with it. So let's say at most you have about 6 hours of gameplay in this entire tech demo, ironically, or just whatever this game it was trying so much to be. Honestly, now honestly, this is meant well, whatever it is, but that's not the point. The point is I'm trying to talk about is that this is trying to lead into a segue of me saying that despite this, do I like the game? No, not that much. I barely even liked it when I was playing it. I'm only playing this game right now to kind of have a commentary over it, where I can say, at, at most, the industry has been chasing this trend for a very long time. They've been chasing a lot of trends, honestly. Live service, battle royales, build it once, add more to it later, and so on and so forth. Season passes that still are 50-50 at best at most. Day one DLC pre-order now, like like all those editions that everyone's been saying that do not pre-order your games, despite the fact all of us still continuously to pre-order games and whatnot. This is the problem that the industry has always been facing, and with the more recent announcement of all these employees losing their jobs again, that we're not even in the month of January. Heck, even just recently of Eidos Montreal, unfortunately had to cancel a Deus Ex game that was in 2 years in development because in the Embracer groups probably looked at it and like to me I'm just baffled like why are they saying that, like why are they did they have to do that? Like, Embracer fully admits that Saints Row failed, causing them to lose millions of dollars. All of a sudden, be like, hey, there's this game here that you could potentially produce and, make, and for it to be better. And all of a sudden, you decide to cancel, you know, Deus Ex game. A Deus Ex game would have been awesome. It would have been amazing. I would have loved it. I would have loved to play it. And once again, more employees are losing their jobs. So my brief summary about all this is that I hoping that some of them might go indie or go together and be like, hey, there's a great studio at 100 Star Studio by some of the founders of Rocksteady. Go there. I think they would help you out. Or if this is the end for their careers, because for some of them they don't want to work no more or not. But that's the reason why. Like I'm starting to hate this industry. It's either we're not giving them enough time to make the game that they want to make to whatever this is that we're doing. Like I said, we're going the trend of battle royales. Season past this. Make a game for this that may or may not do as well as they think it's going to be. The season passes are going to vary, but if it's just the bare bones minimum content, then why would you offer a season pass? You could either put that in as a free DLC content or a free update whatnot. The reason why people say that, wait, why do you like Cyberpunk? Again, I was there from day one. Look, I spent $250 on the collector's edition. I wanted it, and I loved it. But yeah, it was rough. I can admit that. I can admit that. Yeah, it was rough, but it had some good moments in there that I felt like the charm was still there. This was still like a CDPR game. It just needed more time in the oven. In fact, after all the patches and update, it was pretty damn good, honestly. It got better, and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty damn good game now. If only if I had that on launch date, it would have been fine. It would have been better. But you get to Edge Runners, a great anime. That was awesome. That was fantastic. I wish I get more stuff like that. Or like their Liberty's Phantom Liberty DLC. Liberty City, the Phantom Liberty was freaking awesome. Like that's what I wanted. That's a great game. I wish, and it deserves to be praised for that. Like it was great. It was great. They did a great job with it. But those are the rare exceptions, you know. But if we continue this trend of bulking broken games at launch, charging $60, $70 for launches for the base game now, $80 to $90 for deluxe edition, and whatever. Oh God, I'm trying to remember how much like Ultimate Editions cost, or just in general the air quote collector's edition that should automatically get you the base game. Heck, some of them aren't even giving you the base game no more, which is a sad thing, really, which is very very much sad. Which is very much sad because they're just going away. Heck, I'm about to tell you this: as much as it's cool to own a collector's edition, you're spending yourself a lot of money just to get that. Some of it's worth it, others not so much. Or those some of them wrongfully able to something that as get the deluxe edition when it's like it's just a little more without the steelbook. In fact, some games don't even come with the steelbook no more. I remember the God of War Ragnarok fiasco where some players were getting their game the collector's edition, but there's missing part of the collection or the base game itself. So to me, that's was a shame. That was not very good. You know, for a shame on them, and that people had to get a refund, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. But the reason why I bring up the stuff like this, it's not worth it. It's worth it, but then not worth it. Some of the season passes I keep mentioning aren't that worth it. If it's just giving me stuff that's like, yeah, bare bones, or like keep adding this season. The reason why I didn't like the whole Destiny feat stuff is because they're paying like what was it, 29.99, 34.99. I'm trying to remember how much it was actually priced for, but it's like you get two expansions and that's it. But then someone say, "But Joker, what about the Taken King?" You know what the funny thing about that is? The Taken King didn't even come with the season pass. You had to buy that, which already came with the two DLCs, the two expansions. So all you did, if you had the base game at that time and didn't buy the season pass for any of the expansions, guess what you could have done? Waited until the Taken. God, I'm trying. There we go. The Taken King came out, and then play it. And the same thing, it's kind of repeated with it, and the same thing kind of kept on repeating. All you had to do was wait until the latest expansion that will give you the content that you need and require to play, and then go from there. That's how terrible the business marketing practice has been. Granted, you can say for sure that they probably made their money back either way, but it's like buy now, pay later or something. So it's kind of like that with anything. Battle Royales, you know my opinions about Battle Royales, my friends. It's fine that they exist, but not every freaking game needs to have a freaking Battle Royale mode, or they try to make it, which could stand out, but they don't last as long, or the marketing's not done, or the people are confused what type of Battle Royale this game is. I remember one of my friends did like Hyperspace, I think that was the game that Ubisoft created, and he was wondering, waiting for it to come out, and we had to tell him that, oh yeah, they're shutting the service down for that. It's kind of sad, honestly. A game he was excited for, that he was really excited to play, and he enjoyed his time. All of a sudden, it's like, sorry, the game is shutting down now. So there's not much you can do about that. Again, the live service stuff, there's only a selection of them that can truly work. So in the end, it's us saying that be proceed at your own risk. If a live service game shuts down for various reasons, then it's like it was not meant to be. If the game is really good and pumping out good content, that's wonderful. That's great. I'm not saying those are bad. There are a lot of bad examples out there, people trying to make live service that do not work whatsoever. But it's the ones that stand out the most are gonna get copied the most. Like people are trying to, out there. So it's basically everybody following the trend on what's trending. The gamers do make it popular if it's successful enough, but the companies are getting the wrong idea about that. Like saying that, yeah, you guys should just be making this type of games. You would like to have them, but you shouldn't keep doing that for every game out there. I'm looking at one particular game that's coming out pretty soon. Other things have always been stuff like, hey, you don't need to do this constantly, like constantly remastered. Well, some of the remasters are fine. I'm looking at the ones that I'm like, oh my god, like, why are we still getting this remastered when you didn't? Look at The Last of Us. I mean, people say it's a franchise, but it only really has two games in like point, well, two pointless remasters. The first remaster was more understandable, very much understandable, at least for the first game. But then they remastered that and called Last of Us Part One, and The Last was Part Two remake. It's like remaster. I'm like, no, no, you don't need another remake. You have, and people have said this. The game already looks fine as it is on the base PS4, which is at the end of the life cycle of the PS4, and it's already done a really fine job on the PS5 because it's already backwards compatibility. And if you play it on there, it still looks pretty damn good with some of the small improvements that you can definitely see. The problem that everyone has is that they made a pointless remastered, where that those resources could have easily gone into a Jack and Daxter HD port. Get on it, Dog, or stuff that is kind of a new IP, which they are working on because they were trying to get their Last of Us factions mode out or their faction game out, but they realized if we went down this road, it would have been one of two things. One, or at least this one thing, they would have just been known forever as a battle royale company. They would be known just for this mode, just for this game, and only this game. So at least they had the decency, in my opinion, to at least state that yeah, it would have been not that great. So I'm glad they scrapped it and working on new IPs. Or you're a director. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's not the director's fault or the company's fault. A Ben Studio for Days Gone. It's not their fault. It's sold well enough, and you would think that they would make a sequel, and they were going to make a sequel. They tried pitching it, and the criticism that they learned from that game would be like, "Yeah, this is how we're going to make the sequel better." I'm like, "Damn, I'm excited. Give me that sequel." I played a little bit of it. I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind a sequel to this." And even though it may have not gone that far as most people, but I'm like, I'm excited for it. I'm saying, yeah, give it up for this little company out there with a big studio. Yeah, you do it. You make the game that you want to make. All of a sudden, for Sony to be like, no, sorry, we're not interested in that. And then they have to make a new IP. I'm like, and I have to say, but why Sony? But why? You have a company out there that says, look, we're going to make you a sequel. We can if you can greenlight it, and it's going to be really, really good. Learn the improvements. They're going to learn. They take the criticism, and then they say no. Again, look what happened to the Embracer Group. How Saints Row failed miserably. They pretty much said that's the end of Deep Silver, and Deep Silver tapped the fans. We will get to that shortly. We will get to that shortly. For all of a sudden, for them to be like, we have to shut down the doors, and for them to be like, yeah, after all, after everything that we fought, not we fought for, but how things became in that sense of way. What I'm trying to state is that look what happened to Saints Row, the reboot. The reboot completely failed, and it was like, well, that failed. Spent a lot of money to make the game, try to get it out, but it's like, well, the fans aren't happy, and our bracers look at the loss because they spent a lot of money on the damn game. All of a sudden, for it to be like, no, we don't, we're not gonna take that. uh, you know, take another financial risk in it. I'm pretty sure the Deus Ex game came out, or they kept saying, "Okay, we'll still greenlight it. We will financially support you on this." But all of a sudden, for the two just then to be like, "No, we're not going to make the game," it really puts a sour mouth in a lot of respect because it could have been a game that's been great. Heck, even like was it Eidos Montreal or Eidos in general? They were saying that yeah, we're not going to make the same mistake as Cyberpunk 2077 at launch did. So I'm like, damn, they were trying. Part of that is Shay. They are trying to go after them, but it's like, you know what? So I felt like, damn, that was actually a pretty good way to them to say that, hey, they were trying to bring in the competition, the better competition, the better games we get. That's what I always live by. But Embracer's like, nope, sorry, we're gonna shut down. And for me, I'm still gonna say this: I wish they didn't. And Embracer's looking to be like a very bad company out there. They buy all the companies that you want to buy, and hopefully they can get the good games. But how bad Saints Row was for that reboot, it's like, oh boy, here we go. So it's gonna happen, and that's the trend. That's been a lot of things have been going on, or things that just been happening that no one's liking. We want to see these games come out, but then everyone's saying no, or they're just getting flat out rejected, or there's not enough time. Look at how much has happened with the next Dragon Age 4. That game has been started to restarted to hopefully abandon the live serve and stuff to make it more single player game. But what some people aren't quite as happy is that they're making it more action oriented, which to me can't be fine. But sometimes I kind of miss a classic CRPG out there. There's a reason why Baldur's Gate was successful the way it was, because it went back in the rounds of classic D&D, and it was a classic role playing game. You got to play the role that you want to play in this game. So I felt like that was pretty interesting. I did to play Baldur's Gate 3, but it was successful for a reason, and why people say that it's like if you like the Dragon Age Origins type of games or the classic CRPGs, you will really like Baldur's Gate 3. And I like Dragon Age Origins. I like how my decisions were making a great impact on the story. Heck, I love Fallout New Vegas so much, which I'm still playing on my PC. I'm like, damn, I'm glad I'm starting to make some of these different choices that seem to have effect on the story. So that's what people want, but nobody wants to play a game that the game has the illusion of choice, yet none of our choices are mattering these days. So that's why a lot of people are not liking them as much. Some of them can be really good, but some not so much. But that's the way of the industry. They're going backwards in time. We're going, instead of seeking new innovations and improvements, we're going way, way. Yeah, the things are just going backwards. And a lot of things aren't that great, really. Do I appreciate cinematic gameplay? Yeah, I appreciate cinematic storytelling that are great in games and movies. But if you're gonna do this, I want to rather watch a movie than play a game. Why disguise a game? And for crying out loud, Sony has to announce such a long time ago, not even that long time ago, but just recently in like interviews and whatnot and statements saying that hey, we need to stop making these, or at least pursue more mid-sized budget games than these big, heavy scripted cinematic adventures that we always keep on doing. Then something's wrong. with the industry. I know someone put up a great, photo on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that simply states that he used the PlayStation 3 lineup from back in the day, all the games that we were slowly getting. Now, I never had a PlayStation 3, but I knew some of the games that did come out for that. I would have to say that, hey, you guys are onto something. The PS4 lineup was actually pretty great, actually. You got what you wanted, small size games, medium size games, and yes, the cinematics were there, but for the PS5, I know people are saying, but you're not that long in. Technically speaking, once we get to the midway point, people are going to say that, hey, what happened here? Yes, we know I'm going to say we had all the lockdowns and everything, but if Sony is willing to admit that we need to start producing these games again, the mid-sized budgets, I'm about to say, where's Jack and Daxter? Where's Sly Cooper? Talk to Capcom with Ape Escape. Give me a brand new Ape Escape game and whatnot. Double A, smaller indies. We need to get back to that stuff again instead of the heavily cinematic stuff. They're fine, but there needs to be a well balance. I think that's what the PlayStation 3 near the end and 4 throughout it had that good balance. There was a good balance. Stuff that you wanted to see was coming. There was a game for everybody. But now it feels like there's a game for everybody, and there's the games that the production company or like the studio what they want you to have or what you think that you want. I'm not saying you're a bad person for liking any of these games out there. You are not. You're still a good person for liking these games. But just remember that hey, without the games that came before, the games that we all love, we wouldn't have the stuff that we have today. Without the first Sly Cooper game, we would not have Infamous or Ghosts of Tsushima. Without Jack and Daxter or Crash, we would not have Uncharted and The Last of Us. What I'm saying is that all the smaller games across different platforms happen for a reason. Diablo was made by a group of people that really want to try the action RPG round. I mean, go watch like the Ackman video or like interviews about like how the first Diablo game was made, or how Street Fighter was made, or like all the first games and how they were made. It's very important to know how important a lot of these games are to you and the community. Without Doom, you would not have Halo. Oh well, Doom is still important, but what I'm saying, without Doom and the Nightmare mode, you would not have the great speedrunning games out there that we have today with speedrun archives and whatnot. What I'm saying is, without a lot of games that we don't have today, would not be possible for the games that came before, or the people working on, the people making games, or for those who've been inspired by a game to make their own game. Like Eternites would not exist without Persona 5. It would still exist without Persona games, but for the guy, for the creator, he really, really loves Persona, and he loves Persona 5. So without that game, you would not have what you have today. Without the Witcher games, I don't think the Witcher series would have been as popular as it is. Remember, the author keeps saying that I made the well. You make the books; they are popular, but how many people knew the game without knowing the books even exist? That should say a lot to you right there. Without the games, The Witcher would not be mainstream audience that it is today. It would still be a series, but it would still be within that small community who's praising The Witcher out there. Like without the first, Lord of the Rings movie, I forget which one it was, or the animation stuff. You kind of want to be inspired by some stuff today, actually. So that goes to a lot. But the fans are what makes it popular. They create the game, the company makes the game, and I need to give a lot of props to the developers out there because without you, your hard work, blood, sweat, and tears into these games, we wouldn't be playing them. So great job. I want to thank every single one of you out there. But stop insulting the fans. What I mean by this, look at Saints Row. How people saw the reboot trailer. People were not happy about it. They're like, what is this? This is not Saints Row. What happened to the, gangsters, back in Stillwater. I want to play those guys again. Again, like the original Hood, like the original Saints were trying to stop the gang violence. In fact, they wanted to eliminate them, all of them, so they can a stop the violence in Stillwater, or let the guys from back in Saints Row 2, and we had this badass katana battle on an exploding, sinking ship. That's badass and awesome. The monster truck rally won. What happened to all that stuff? Instead, we get hippies who think they're gangsters, but they're not, or someone who used to be part of the army who didn't get paid correctly because of the commander not paying because he disobeyed orders. That's not the Saints. It was broken, ugly. It was broken, ugly. Didn't play well on the consoles. Looked better on PC, but it was a nightmare. Took multiple patches to fix it, and even then, the DLC was subpar. And what did they do to the fans? They started attacking us, saying that hey, instead of saying, hey man, just give it a try, give it a shot, it was more like, no, we're growing up. It was like, no, you don't understand. Haters gonna hate. And I said to myself, is this how they respond to us? The fans who bought the game, we pressure our friends to play the game. We made sure that they should play the game. We had to make sure that this game would survive. Or the reviewers who said like, "Hey, this is a great game. You should truly check it out." Oh my God, I forgot about this moment in the Order 1886. It is so cool. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at that. The cutscenes of gameplay are magic. This is cool, and it's still cool. But look at the fabric. Look at the fabric. That's awesome. Anyway, back to Saints Row and attacking the fans. It's the way they attack the fan base. It's the way it's almost like they were like embarrassed of the games that came before it. It's almost like it's that they came before. And it's like this is the game that people wanted to play because it's Saints Row out there or Halo. Who like the creators? I guess the showrunners they knew better, but according to them, they didn't play the games. They didn't read the books. They didn't play the games. They focused on characters and destroyed Master Chief in season one within the first episode, and then later have him do the sex scene. No, no, thank you. Hey, it's one thing the actor came out later before the launch of season two to be like he didn't want to do the sex scene, but he was outnumbered in it is one thing. But he continues to be the guy to be like who still doesn't know Master Chief. The reason why Halo works so well is because we the player projected on to Chief like anybody could have been Chief. Hence why we never saw Chief without the helmet off until we saw it in Halo 4 and in the canon lore, in the books, he did take the helmet off more often. So there's that. But one of these studios out there doesn't have to be like Volition. Any studio out there that's attacking the fan base, like their core audience who wants to buy the games, it means a lot. And why this industry is failing so much. Live service games do not work, save for the few of them. Season pass are absolute garbages unless they might offer you something up there that's pretty good or not. Heck, I forgot to even talk about Evolve. Do you guys remember Evolve? $150 worth of downloadable content, and all of it was just cosmetic skins, new characters or bosses to play as, and none of that was on the DLC. But a lot of it was like useless junk that could have been in the game as you were unlocking it. I miss times like that when games used to be that. Hell, why does like Dead or Alive 6 or something they were charging you so much money for the all the customizable stuff for the characters that it didn't even last that long. That should say something. Or like other games that are doing that. It just sucks. It's terrible. Like why would they do that? Money and greed. And when you attack the fan base, You get nowhere. The fans call you out and say that, hey, I didn't play this game to be called out and whatnot. I played this game to have fun, to escape. Yes, you can talk about stuff too if you would like to. However, I also remember a time when gaming was fun. It was exciting, but now we're going backwards. We're getting stuff like again like the Ori 1886. I like the cool technical stuff in this game, but at the same time, we're going heavily cinematic. We're going heavily cinematic. I feel like I'm not in control half the time when I still play this game. When I play this game or any of the walking simulators, I know people hate that when we call them that, but call them what they are, walking sims out there, and like they're great cinematic achievements, but some of them I don't need every game to be like that. I want the game back in gameplay. Want to watch a walkthrough that tells me how to play a damn game, but companies aren't gonna say no to that. They found what makes the money, and they found what's gonna work. And until that happens, the industry is gonna crash. So the final sum up of this is why I'm saying that the industry is gonna crash. Is that I think 2024 just might be the year where we say enough is enough. I could talk about the whole localization for the Japanese departments, what's happening to their games. I hate that it's happening to this, and they don't say anything. Something bad is gonna happen until they start that to fight back and say, "Stop ruining our games," and just translate it correctly. I have even mentioned the fact of how bullcrap the practices of going from $60 to $70 was. Everyone's talked about it, and nobody really likes it. It's one thing. It is one thing that they made it more understandable, but they didn't make it understandable. They're trying to take advantage of that. It's more understandable if it was reasonable. But no, we're not ready to go from $70 to $100. No, Rockstar, I do not want to pay $100 for GTA 6. I hope it's a great game. I hope it's a great game. But we are not ready for that. We're not ready to talk about stuff going full blown digital, or like Ubisoft coming out saying that you better get used to not owning your games. I'm like, that's why I buy physical. I buy physical for a reason. So it's my game, it's my copy that I own with my hard earned cash out there. And no, and no means no. I'm not going to say no. Well, the younger generation aren't going to understand. If this industry crashes, guess what's going to happen? It's going to crash. They keep firing employees for no validated reason, and these companies come form a shell themselves, so be it. If games continue to be buggy, broken, messes that people are demanding, then so be it. Let it crash. They keep charging ridiculous amounts of money for loot boxes, microtransactions, DLCs, then so be it. Then so be it. If it's gonna crash, it's gonna crash. And I think the crash is gonna happen sooner than we think it is. And someone's gonna tell me that it's not gonna happen. Let me tell you something. It's gonna happen. We saw it happen way back in the day, way before our time. It crashed, but we bounced back and made the industry better, for the worse. If things are gonna continue to be like this, then the industry is gonna crash. It's gonna crash one day. We're just in the calm before the storm will let the industry crash. It's going to be a great wake up call and reality check. I want to say thank you all for enjoying this video. If you agree with me, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, like the video. If not, let me know in the comment section. I will see you all next time.